Hey everybody, it's Abby Glassenberg from Craft Industry Alliance. I hope you're having a fabulous morning or afternoon wherever you are. I am going live today because it is Wednesday afternoon and we always go live on Wednesdays to talk to one of our members for our Member Spotlight series. So today we're going to be talking to Laura. I'm very excited, from Slice of Pie Quilts. She has joined and I'm going to see if I can hang on one sec. Hopefully she'll be joining us in just a second. And what have I been working on today? I've been making slides for our board of directors meeting, which is coming up soon. And hey, how are you?
I'm good. Hi, Abby. How are you?
I'm good. I've been having a busy morning making slides. So I was just saying making keynote slides, which is like not my most favorite thing, but I guess there's some creativity involved in making a slideshow, slide deck. I don't know if you enjoy doing that, but anyway.
I find there's much more computer work to a business than a creative business than what you would think.
Oh my gosh, you said it. It is so much computer work. Like I'm looking around, there's like all these like sewing supplies next to me, and I'm like, when was the last time I touched these things? I don't remember, but that's okay. So anyway, I am very excited to talk to you today and to learn a little bit more about your creative business. So I love the beautiful heart quilt behind you, and we've been seeing pictures on Instagram as well. But tell us a little bit about how you first learned to quilt or started quilting.
So I actually learned how to sew in 4-H, which is a program for youth. And I grew up in Kansas, a really rural area, and 4-H was a really big thing there. But I hated it. I really did not enjoy sewing at all. It was kind of that time where Walmart was becoming a thing, and I could not understand why you would sew anything when you could just go to Walmart and buy it. I grew up in that era of there was no purpose or value to it, but I was super creative, and so I did art and other stuff. I just wasn't into sewing because I felt it was so much work.
It is a lot of work. Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't enjoy it at all. My mom sewed, my grandmothers all quilted, like it was in our family. And for whatever reason, I also got this notion that I didn't want to be anything like them. And so anything that they all enjoyed, I avoided. So I got married, I moved away, like several states away, and as I was packing up to leave, my mom gave me a sewing machine and was like, just in case you ever need this, here's this sewing machine. And I was like, I will never use this. I don't she's like, well, you can mend your pants. And I was like, no one does that.
We just go and buy new ones. We don't need that.
That's right, I know. So I was like, whatever. And then it was a couple years after we got married, and there was a project that I had seen probably on Pinterest or something that I wanted to sew. And I was like, oh, I remember I have this sewing machine. I'll get it out and do it. And the sewing machine didn't even work. I called my mom and she said, oh, I gave you, it was broken. Yeah, she knew that I never was even going to use it. But anyway, so then I actually got interested then when I was an adult after I got married. And a friend of mine had a baby that was in the NICU. And I didn't know how to help her because she was staying at the NICU. So like meals wasn't a thing. And I just felt really helpless how to help my friend. And so I called my mom and I was like, what would you do? And she said, well, I'd make a quilt. And I was like, you know what? I can do it. I can figure it out. And that was about the same time YouTube started to become a thing. And so I watched YouTube videos and taught myself how to quilt. So that's kind of my story.
I feel like life cycle events, that's when people make their first quilt. And so often, either a wedding or a baby.
Yeah. And I only made like a couple quilts after that too, like that within the next year or so. I made a couple others just for fun because I did enjoy it a lot. And then after that, I had my own children and I decided to stay at home. So I had been a middle school math teaper.
Yay,
loved it.
I was a middle school social studies teacher. Yay!
Yeah. I know, I love middle school. That was like where it was at for me. But we decided I would stay at home to raise our own children. And that did not last very long before I was itching for something to do. So I started sewing a lot more quilts. And I also, from the push of a friend, decided to join Instagram at about that same time and found the wonderful community of Instagram quilters. And that just kind of spiraled, some would say out of control, and became what it is today. And then that's how I started my business.
That's fantastic. And then how many kids do you have now?
We have 3 boys.
Okay, great. And I have 3 kids too, so I understand that life. Yeah, it's a lot. It's busy. And so, okay, so tell us a little bit about your style of quilting, because you are a very productive quilter. I mean, I see you making quilts, and there's a lot. I mean, you're not a slow quilter. You're not somebody who works on one piece. I don't get the sense for like 6 months. Like you kind of, yeah, you make quite a few quilts in a year.
Yeah, so I started out right before I started my business, so around 2015. I saw some challenge somewhere and I decided I was going to make 15 quilts in 2015. And I failed because I made 30.
Right. This is what I'm saying. You
But the
stressed me
year
as a,
before that, yeah, but
yeah,
like
you're
the year
productive.
before that, I had only made 6, like before that. So it wasn't like this, that I had made a lot before then. It wasn't. It was just something about the challenge created this desire in me. So then the next year I was like, I'm going to try it again. I'll do 16 quilts in 2016. And it was something like 50. I mean, it was this ridiculous. So it's gone up every single year until 2019. I made like 150 quilts. It was
Amazing. Are you guys hearing this?
ridiculous.
150 quilts in a year. Like I'm saying,
Yeah,
it's
so that
really
includes like
productive.
mini quilts counted. I count if it has binding on it, I count it. So it wasn't all like bed quilts. But anyway, so then I decided that was too much. I don't need to do that, and so I kind of tried to change the way that I do business so that I wasn't being so forced to produce so much, and that I could step back from that working mentality, like that kind of work, and do something different. And so I focus more on patterns. And so like the heart quilt here is a pattern. I sell the little paper booklets for quilt shops that tells you like the directions of how to make it are inside. So that's my primary business. And then in 2019, I started a new leg of my business, if you will, and that's called the Quilting and Sewing Deals Group. And it is a Facebook group where I share affiliate links to quilting and sewing related products from anywhere I can get an affiliate link. So that has grown from October of 2019 is when I started it, and now there are over 17,000 members.
Wow.
And I share links there every day, and I'm constantly looking for more affiliate partners. So if anyone watching the video has affiliate links set up, I'm always looking for more ways to promote other makers and other designers or people in the crafting, sewing type industry, and I share their products.
That's amazing. And so people join that group for what reason? So what motivates somebody who's in that Facebook group to join that group? Because it sounds like there's a lot of people in there.
Yeah, so it's meant to share deals, like sales, things that the idea is like Amazon doesn't always charge the best price, but Amazon has become the Google of where to find things.
That's
And
true.
so it was kind of a way to direct people away from, only your normal Google search or your Amazon search to finding deals other places too that would support other shops and places to buy things. Even though the name of the group is Quilting and Sewing Deals, which does allude that I only sew or only share deals and things on sale, is not how I do it at all. I also share really cool notions or products, things that are new that people might not have known about or seen before, and so it's a great way to get new things out into a large audience. And if I share my own stuff there too. If I make a pattern or something, I share that. So
That's super cool. Wow, that's a great, I didn't even know you had that. So I'm super glad you told us about that. And then how
yep.
many patterns do you have? And do you sell them through distributors now? Is that the way that you get them out to the quilt shops?
Yeah, so I sell them myself retail on Etsy. I don't have my own shop. I just sell through Etsy, and I sell the PDF and the paper versions there. And then I also do sell wholesale directly to a quilt shop. They can buy them direct. And then I also sell through distributors.
Okay. And do you have a whole reason for them?
So yes, but I've actually, part of my business plan is that I go for quality, not quantity. So I've been in business now for almost 5 years, but I only have about 15 quilt patterns.
Okay.
It's probably a little bit more than that, maybe 16 something, but less than 20. So I'm not like producing patterns nonstop. Like I know there's other people that really make a lot. I don't do that. I like tend to focus on one for at least 6 months or a year and really like put my effort into that, into promoting it before I kind of switch gears and start another one.
Here's what I've learned from having a pattern or patterns out in the world is that works. That makes sense because first of all, you can sell more and more of that same pattern if you make it in different fabrics, different samples, and collaborate with different, for example, fabric designers, make it in their fabrics and co-promote with them, do different sew-alongs online, generating excitement, and then you don't have to do more work of designing necessarily and printing necessarily. You've already done that. So you've done that work up front and now you're really just doing marketing, kind of the fun stuff of creating. And so it does make sense. And also, there's a lot of work that goes, and people think it's passive income, but really it's not passive. There's a lot of support that goes into it. And the more patterns you have, the more troubleshooting there is with customers who always seem to run into the same problem at the same step and that sort of thing. And so the more you have, it almost balloons. And so it makes sense to sort of keep a tighter lid and control. It doesn't really make sense to have 100 instead of having 20. If you can do 20 really, really well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and part of my plan from the get-go too was to support quilt shops. I didn't want to do PDF only. I really wanted to be like, rising tide lifts all boats. And so I wanted to partner with quilt shops and make sure that they were a part of it. So I wanted to do paper patterns. And the more that I design, the more inventory I have to keep of those patterns, which takes up space in my home. And so I also am mindful of that too. I don't release patterns just to say like, oh, got another one. I want it to be worth my time, that a quilt shop is going to want to carry that and it will help them sell fabric and other notions too.
And any tips for people who want to get into doing paper patterns as far as when you do partner, because it is really a partnership with a quilt shop, and when you get into the shoes of the quilt shop owner, why they are going through the Checker catalog, going through the Brewer catalog, going through the United Notions catalog and saying, I'm going to buy this pattern, why they're buying that pattern. So what motivates them to say, I want this one over that one? In other words, why do quilt shops even buy patterns? And what makes them buy your pattern or this particular pattern over the other, 1,000 patterns that they could select from?
Yeah, so my Exploding Heart pattern is the most popular one I've done. And what the questions you're asking are ones I'm figuring out now because I've never had a pattern do as well as this one. And I actually have received phone calls from shop owners that are just as surprised as I am that it's doing so well. And they're like, they've said like, we've had popular patterns before, but this one is selling off the shelf. Like they can't keep it in stock at all. And so I'm not really sure. I actually designed the pattern in the fall of 2019, but I didn't release it because I just felt it wasn't me at the time. I wasn't in the right place to do it. I just didn't want to. So I was like, nah, it's not going to be pattern. I just made the quilt. I love it. I'm going to use it, move on. And I just kept getting request after request after request for the pattern. And so in July of 2020, kind of after the heat of the pandemic, but still, of course, in the middle of it, I decided, why not? Like, I'll just do it just to have something out there. No, it's not going to hurt anything. So I released it, and then it's the closest thing to go viral that I've ever experienced. So it's been really popular. I think that a really good photo on the front of the pattern makes a huge difference.
Yes.
It has to have good lighting. It has to be kind of staged well. I keep the background really not competing. Like the background is not anything that's busy behind it. All of my patterns are taken out like in the wild. The photos are kind of like it's an actual photograph. Like my husband or my mom is holding up the quilt and all of my covers. But I think that a good photo really does make a difference. And then I also think it's important to develop a relationship with shop owners, and that's what keeps them coming back again. So, if I, like the other day, I had an email from a shop owner that wanted to purchase patterns, but I decided to call to just to verify the order. And we talked for like 10 minutes, and she was just so excited that the pattern designer called and talked to her. And so then she changed her order to 50% more than what her original order was, just because I called and talked to her. So I think it's important to just keep those relationships in mind. And although it takes a little bit more time, it's definitely worth it in the end.
Absolutely. That's a great tip. Plus, for you as the pattern designer, you get such a valuable perspective just listening to what she's saying, and she gets a valuable perspective from listening to your, from what you're saying. So
That's
that
exactly what
relationship is
happened,
great.
because she had ordered them through a distributor, and we discovered together by talking it through that they had marked it as back ordered because the distributor was waiting on me to ship, which I do, but it takes a while for them to receive them and then for them to send the order back out to the quilt shop. And so she was wanting to know if I could ship it faster, which, I mean, I eliminate a middleman if I do. And so she didn't realize that they didn't keep an inventory like all the time. The distributors work more on demand, and so if someone orders, then they order from me. They don't really keep too much in stock. So she didn't realize she couldn't get them right away. That wasn't, that was kind of new information, and so that was good to talk to. And then I was able to learn from her that she's making kits and what kits, what fabrics are working well, what people are looking for. And then I can offer digital mock-ups of the pattern for her too in fabrics that she already has in her shop, so that I can help sell fabric that may not be selling very well.
Absolutely. It's so important just to talk to people. And sometimes we are just so isolated, in our own little worlds, and it's difficult to get out there and actually talk to people. So I definitely think if you can, reach out and make that phone call, you absolutely should. Oh, Laura, looks like maybe our connection got broken up.
I
But
can still hear you if you can hear me, but yes, you're from.
okay. Well, I'm glad you can still hear me. But yes, I honestly, the other thing I was going to say about that is that so often we just don't even pick up the phone. People, just want to text or email, but they don't want to pick up the phone anymore. And honestly, talking on the phone is a lost art, but I love to talk on the phone. And I think maybe because I'm old, but I think it's a good thing. Just pick up the phone. I give you so much credit for just being like, oh, look, here's her phone number. I'm just going to call her to confirm the order. Good idea. I just think that's such smart advice. So that's awesome. Okay, so if people want to come check out this pattern, or any of your other patterns, or just follow you on Instagram so they can see all of your productivity and all of your beautiful quilts, where should they go?
Yep, I'm Slice of Pie Quilts pretty much everywhere. So my website is sliceofpiequilts.com. On Instagram, I'm Slice of Pie Quilts, and it's pie, P-I, like for math. And on Facebook, I'm also Slice of Pie Quilts. But then that deals group that I run, that's called Quilting and Sewing Deals, and that's a Facebook group.
That's fantastic. I'm totally going to join. I did not know about that before. So that is really good to know about, and that good for you too.
I'm able to hear you now, so maybe we have
Facebook group. And we love, yeah, we love having you as a Craft Industry Alliance member, and I just love being inspired by your beautiful quilts. So thank you so much, Laura, for joining us today for this member spotlight. It was really fun to have a chance to see you in your studio and chat with you.
Thank you, Abby. This was really great.
Okay. Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Take care.